Hi, there are many Think and Grow Rich success stories. You may have heard some of them. However, the ones that impact me the most are from our Think and Grow Rich mastermind and accountability group here on Facebook. I share with you today the success story of Toby. His success is definitely attributable to creating a definite main purpose statement and diligently reading it out loud each day. Being part of the mastermind and accountability group of course helps, but at the end of the day, it's the individual members that must do the heavy lifting. Although Toby and I have not met in person, I do consider him a friend. Hi, my name is Bert Hernandez, and I'm the founder of the Think and Grow Rich Mastermind and Study Group here on Facebook, as well as other groups. I also run the Think and Grow Rich Mastermind and Accountability Private Group. The private group consists of men and women that are earning 6 and 7 figures and possibly more. They are the movers and shakers, a force for good, if you will. It's with great pleasure that I introduce you today to Toby and his success story using the principles in Think and Grow Rich. Enjoy.
This call recorded.
Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, July 7th, 2017. If you're not manifesting, then more than likely it's that you're not doing enough repetition. In addition to that, you probably aren't using enough emotion. Napoleon Hill said, plain, unemotional words have no impact on the subconscious mind. You could repeat over and over again the famous Emile Coué affirmation every day, and in every way I am getting better, and you will have no appreciable results. Because that's what the findings were when they looked at the results of the people at the clinic that Emile Coué ran. That the people that didn't put their enthusiasm into this new thought habit didn't receive any appreciable results. So the fault, dear Brutus, as the saying is, the fault, dear Brutus, lies not in the stars but within ourselves. As many famous philosophers have said, you are who you are and what you are because of the dominant thoughts that you have allowed to occupy your mind. Do you fill your mind with thoughts of your accomplishments and other wondrous things? Or do you fill your mind with problems, with negative information? Because whatever you think about comes about. And so I'm going to start with my statement. It is my birthday, February 20th, 2018, and I, Bert Hernandez, I'm so happy and grateful now that I am receiving over $100,000 in monthly residual income from my global enterprise business. I easily and effortlessly accomplish my daily task, which includes creating an imperative important list daily, 20 contacts per day, 10 presentations per day, and 15 new clients per week, thus ensuring my success. I experience joy each day knowing that what I'm doing is being of service to others and to myself. I'm a young, vibrant, handsome, attractive, and super sexy man of action. I am a lean, fit, muscular, 170-pound man that works out at least 3 times per week without fail. I am disciplined, organized, scheduled, responsible, punctual, single-minded, and laser-focused leader who completes all my tasks. I am a worthy, deserving, gorgeous, and beautiful man that is open to receive all that has been given to me and more. I am a great listener, flexible, understanding, and patient in dealing with others. As a result of my concentrated effort, I am now experiencing unparalleled love, sex, joy, happiness, fun, romance, time and financial freedom, abundance, peace of mind, and excellent health. I am so happy and grateful now that everything has been resolved in my favor, for I am truly blessed. I have attracted a beautiful, physically fit, loving, caring, romantic, and funny woman in my dreams who enjoys kissing, preparing delicious meals, holding hands, and having mind-blowing sex. I thank you, God, for it is done. Okay. So, Toby, are you on the call today?
I am, Bert.
Okay, so today we have Toby on the call, and Toby has been in the mastermind, I guess, probably over 2 years now. And during that time, if I had to use one word to describe Toby, it is the word persistence.
Thanks a lot, Bert. I actually wanted to start today with a question. And the question is, do you often think about not killing yourself? The first time I answered that question, I was 22 years old. I was a college student. I was on academic probation. My high school sweetheart had dumped me about 3 years before or so. And I don't think I'd been on a date in that whole 3-year period. And so I'm sitting in a psychiatrist's office, and I'm taking this multiple choice test. It must have like 200 questions on it, and I got to this question. And so the test was to evaluate my mental stability so that I could get a security clearance and I could go work in a nuclear power plant. And when I got to this question, I started laughing. And I was laughing because, well, I'm really smart, and it's funny. I might be one of the smartest people you've ever met. And the reason for the academic probation was because some college professors expect you to show up and go to class and to hand in your homework, even when the problems aren't challenging and you're bored by doing it. And so I wasn't a very good student, but I was really good at answering questions on tests, especially figuring out what the right answer was based on knowing what the reason for the testing was. And I got to this question: do you think often about not killing yourself? And I realized maybe there is no right answer to this question. And so I was actually laughing out loud. The room was full of other candidates for the same job that I was applying for. And they tried not to stare at me as I got myself back under control. And I think it took me maybe half a minute to a minute to realize that probably the right answer was no. And so I went on. I actually did get that job. But the thing about it was I come back to this question a lot just because of the ideas of it. And so 5 years after taking that test is sort of where the journey that I want to talk about today started. But so I studied nuclear engineering at college, and I picked nuclear engineering because the math was easy. When I was just about finished with college, I learned a little bit about real estate as an investment vehicle, and I realized that the math in real estate was even easier than the math in nuclear engineering. And so 5 years after taking that test, I retired. And you know, it wasn't Learjet retired. I always called it tuna fish retired. It was as long as all I wanted to do was eat tuna fish sandwiches, I never had to have a job again in my life. And I was financially able to do that forever with residual income. And so that was great. Of course, when you're 27 and retired, you get bored pretty fast. And so I almost immediately went to graduate school and started learning, just continuing my education, things like that. Fast forward about 15 years. In that time, I had managed to get a couple more degrees. I had begun teaching manufacturing engineering at the same school where I almost didn't graduate. It was kind of interesting. The class that I'm known for teaching right now, I got a C in that class, and that C was a gift from the professor. So it's kind of fun for me when the students complain that they only got a B. But so 15 years later, I picked up, turned out, a full-time job of teaching and being an administrator at the college. I picked up a wife, 2 kids, got rid of a business partner, and life was pretty good. I was living Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week. I mean, literally, maybe less than 4 hours a week. I had to be visible. I had to be in the office occasionally during the day so that people would see me and believe that I still worked there. But I'd actually ended up hiring students to do all the parts of my job that I didn't like doing, which left only the teaching part, which I did like doing, for me to come in for. And so I would give a couple lectures a week. I would do a little bit of grading, but mostly I hired kids to do the grading too. And I was living a good life. In fact, it was probably too good because I had lost that definite chief aim in life. I really didn't have any direction. I was just floating along in my lazy boy of life. And there was a mentor of mine, and I was in the process of trying to buy his company from him at the time. It was sort of a fun thing to do. I'd been working there as a consultant for years, and I thought it would be cool to own the company. And so as we were talking about that, several years ago, he said, well, the first thing you need to do before you make any decisions is go out and make a 25-year projection of your life. Figure out where you're going to be 25 years from now and all the steps you're going to take along the way, and see if buying this company actually fits that path for you. And so this wasn't, having goals and having dreams and things like that. That was nothing new to me. I'm one of those guys that reads a book a week. So I'd read all kinds of self-help books, and I knew about having dream lists and goal lists and someday maybe lists and all that stuff. But the way he presented it was actually make a budget for those 25 years. And so what I did is I projected out 25 years into the future, all the money I was going to spend. And so I said, well, we're going to buy a house in Vancouver. We'll buy a condo in Shanghai. It's funny because I'm reviewing this with my wife at one point, and she looks at it. She says, well, still 20 years from now, you still got this boat expense in here. And she says, you know, that sailboat's already 30 years old. Do you think it's going to last another 20 years? And I just looked at her and I said, you mean you don't think I might buy another boat in the next 20 years? In fact, she had missed the line item in the budget that called for the $250,000 purchase of a new boat that was a few years previous to that maintenance line item. And so we looked at this, and life was good, and it actually allowed me to realize I needed to make some adjustments in some of my investments. I needed to maybe make a few more investments over a certain period of time, so I'd be on track to have everything I needed. I mean, we put in $1 million for each kid to go to college just to make sure that we had enough tuition, and things looked pretty good. So life goes on. I keep talking to the guy about buying the company, but I didn't need to. Things were good, and we were working well. And so we go on, and so this became an annual habit for me to every year do one of these 25-year projections. Actually, when I do a new one, I don't look at last year's. I just start a new one, and I project it forward for 25 years. I figure out all the money I plan to spend, and then I go back and look at where's that money going to come from in order to make all those expenses. And I did this about 3 years ago again. We're doing good. I had to slightly more aggressively make some real estate investments. I needed to buy a couple more properties, and we were going to be good. We were both going to stop our jobs. I think 10 years out, something like that. We were going to quit working when the kids went to college. I think was the plan. And so everything looked good. And I realized there was a couple problems with it. And the real problem was I still really had no chief aim in life other than to get by and to survive. I mean, I was surviving comfortably, but it was surviving. And there was no charity at all in my 25-year budget. It was just about me and my family and what we were going to do. And I said, well, I don't think that's actually right. I should be giving back somehow. And in fact, one of my goals at my job at the university had been to really influence the way the university was spending money on some things. And I've been trying to do it with expressing logic, getting ideas, pushing it up through the chain from the bottom. And I realized that it was having zero impact. And I knew how to make them spend money the way I wanted them to. If I created an endowed fund, I gave them the money. They were required by law to spend it the way I told them to spend it when they accepted it. And so I decided, all right, I'm going to put some charity in this. So I went back and I reworked that 25-year projection. And I pretty aggressively put some charity in there, some giving in there, millions and millions of dollars that I didn't have, and I had no idea how I was going to get them. I just put them in there. And then I figured out that I was a little bit behind the curve, which was exciting. I hadn't been behind the curve for a long time. And so that year, I spent about $60,000 out of pocket going to trainings to learn how to do stuff faster and better, hiring coaches, going to Tony Robbins events, going to UPW, things like that. I said, I want to do this. I want to do it now. I want to just accelerate all of this. And I made some pretty aggressive goals. I said I wanted to give $30 million to support manufacturing education. Because my real passion here is that we can fix the U.S. economy if we get more people involved in manufacturing and more people doing those manufacturing jobs here in the U.S. And not the crappy jobs that have gone off to China, but the new jobs that we're creating now. And so, all right, so that was my goal. I get in there. I got coaches. I've got coaching calls. I think one of the coaches I hired was $1,200-$1,300 an hour. And he's helping me focus on my goals and things like that. And it was funny because what he did do was he did get me to go to that Tony Robbins UPW event. And at that UPW event, I met some people and got involved in a Facebook group that Bert was also a part of. And so I actually met Bert because of this $1,500, $1,200 an hour coach that I had. But it was sort of a circuitous process. And they say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And that was really what happened for me. I mean, I was ready to grow. I was ready to move on. I was ready to significantly change my life. I met Bert, And I realized that I really had to be coachable. I knew how to make money slowly. I didn't know how to make money fast. And so my goal was to be fast about it. I had to be coachable. I had to follow instructions. And there were some coachable moments in the beginning. And it's funny because, Bert, you said that it was about 2 years ago, but it turns out it was just over a year and a half ago that we first met and that I became involved in the mastermind. So it was even less time than you think. There was certainly some coachable moments, and I really had to suck it up because you may have noticed that, well, Bert likes to talk, and Bert likes to tell us things. And if you haven't gotten it from me in this short conversation, I also like to talk, and I also like to tell people things. And I like to show people that I'm smart. And I had to realize that when this is Bert's thing, and I have to listen to Bert. I can't contradict him. I can't argue with him when he says something. I joined the group to learn what it is he has to say, so I can't be pushing back at him. So I bit my tongue several times at the very beginning to not say, but what about? Or I read in this book, or things like that. And I remember we were on one coaching phone call very early in the beginning when I was just creating my statement. And I had the word or in there. I said, I fly first class or by private jet. And so one of the things about being able to say your statement over and over again and repeat it is you've got to get the extra words out. And Bert just said to me, he says, well, which one is it? First class or private jet? And I said, well, private jet. So we deleted first class. So I don't fly first class anymore. I fly by private jet. It is actually pretty funny because now whenever I sit on an airplane, and even if I'm sitting in seat A1, I feel a little bit guilty that I'm flying on a commercial airliner and it's not my private jet that I haven't bought yet. Actually, it's my private jet. I just haven't picked it up yet. I picked that up in 2019. Okay, so I had some coachable moments, and I got my statement down to that minute and a half that Bert was coaching us to, and I started doing my statement. And I remember at the very beginning, I'd get up early before anybody else in the house was awake. I'd go down to the kitchen, make a cup of coffee, and I would read my statement from the piece of paper, and I would read it out loud, walking around the kitchen in my underwear. And sometimes I would feel sick to my stomach when I was saying the words in my statement because I hadn't established belief yet, and I was saying that I was stuff that from my personal observations I hadn't been doing. I was saying that I was getting to the weight that I had projected. I was saying that I was doing this work and following up a prospect that I knew if I just analyzed it the day before, I hadn't done all those things. And so it actually made me feel ill at the very beginning, but I kept doing it. And Bert just said, just keep doing it. I got myself up to 5 times a day, and that was really when I started to turn the corner. I started to not feel so bad about it. And then I got to 10 times a day just by gradually increasing the number of repetitions a day. And then one day I did 50 times. And after you've done your statement 50 times in one day, you no longer need that piece of paper. I guarantee that. You've memorized it by then. And a little bit after that, a group of us in the mastermind, we did a little internal challenge to do 20 times a day. And I actually was doing 20 times a day for maybe 4 months. And it's just amazing the growth, the personal growth that I had, the changes in my goals. When I'll do my statement here at the end. But so I said at the very beginning that I had this personal goal of being able to give $30 million to support manufacturing education. And as I got involved in the group, as I started to see my own potential in the growth that was happening to me, that number has changed to $300 million, not $30 million anymore. And I have no doubt, I mean, we got times planned out for those donations and when they're going to happen. And it was all through gradually building up. Right? At the beginning, it made me sick to my stomach to say my statement once. And then I was getting to, I could do 5 in the morning, while I drank my coffee before anybody woke up. Then it got to the point where I would do 5 in the morning while I was getting my coffee ready, and drinking my coffee. Then I'd go for a walk, and I'd do another 5 while I was on a 1 to 3 mile walk there. And then it just all built up. Bert wanted me to tell some of the things that had manifested in my life while going through this process. And so one of them that he pointed out was really interesting. And it was only about a month into the process, about a month and a half into the process. We were expanding, moving out of residential real estate, which is what we had invested in solely in the past, and expanding into commercial real estate. And so to do that, you got to go look at properties. You got to see things. So I called about a building, and I had no way that I could possibly buy the building, but I loved the location, and it had a lot of potential, I thought. And so I walked through the building, just pretty much to practice looking at a commercial property, not because I thought I had any chance of ever owning that building. And as I walked through with the seller, he showed me some of the spaces. Some of the spaces were rented, some of them were vacant. And I talked about my vision for the building, what I would do if I owned the building as we walked through the property. And about 45 minutes later, we're standing on the curb outside the building on the other side from where we went in. He says, well, if you want to do that, I'll give you a 25% share in the building. And so because of the confidence that I had for doing my statement, it empowered me to make that phone call in the first place. The confidence I had in my ability to project where I was going enabled me to tell the seller of the building what my vision for the building was and how I would transform the building, actually transform the whole area where the building was by empowering and enacting my vision. And just because of that statement, my net worth changed by $1 million with no cash from me. So we're actually right now in the process of finalizing loan papers to buy him out of the building completely and to take over the entire building. One of the things that I did in that time period is I bought that company I'd been talking about buying. We moved it into that space. And we've got a business plan that's been developed and vetted and that we're acting on that will grow that little $1 million company that I bought about a year ago, will grow it to $1 billion in revenue over 10 years. And everybody that looks at my business plan and looks at the models and the projections say we should have no trouble getting to that $1 billion in revenue with that one little company growing it. And that's because of having done my statements. It's funny because the year before I got involved with this group, I had wanted to give to charity, and I wanted to make some charitable contributions. And this year, between my wife and I, we will give to charity about twice what our income was the year before I started this group. So we've been able to use this group to increase our personal income, to help grow our businesses. We're spinning off a company this year, and based on the idea of the spin-off, we've got venture capital people in Silicon Valley valuing the new business at $10 million, just based on the idea and the team that we put together to run it. And that is from doing my statements between 5 and 20 times a day for the past year and a half, nonstop. I have not missed a day. There's been no days that I've done less than 5 times. Most days I do 20. And I alternate the statement with the self-confidence formula. So if I do 20 statements, it's 20 self-confidence formulas. And it's because of being part of this group, because of being able to talk to people like you guys and to share in the wealth of this. So with that, let me go ahead and do my statement, and then I don't know if there's time to do any questions or if anybody wants to talk, but I'm open to do that too. It is 21 December 2017, and I, Dr. Toby and I, Rocket Man Bergstrom, so happy and grateful now that I. That's pretty funny. After the talk, it's hard to get into the statement. Let me start over here. It is 21 December 2017, and I, Dr. Toby and Rocket Man Bergstrom, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm receiving at least $100,000 in monthly residual income from my book sales investment portfolio's operations to the DBT company. I easily and effortlessly accomplish my daily tasks, which include writing for 2 hours, focusing on marketing for 1 hour, posting at least one video following up with 2 clients at 4 or 5 prospects. I maintain 165 pounds by eating right, drinking hydrating fluids, and exercising daily. Have a loving, sexy, fulfilling relationship with Shuei. We support each other and communicate freely, forming a mastermind that's creating everything we desire. I experience joy each day, knowing that what I am doing is being of service to others and to myself. I'm a loving, lean, worthy, beautiful, respectful, scheduled, organized, laser-focused leader who achieves all of my outcomes and meets all of my deadlines. As a result of my genuine efforts and understanding of the universe, I'm experiencing an unparalleled freedom of time, money, love, personal growth, and contribution. I travel by private jet, bringing family and friends to locations around the world, and I enjoy feelings of comfort, luxury, and power when I drive my jet black V12 bi-turbo S65 AMG Mercedes through the New England countryside. I'm now envisioning daily, planning and organizing for my plan to establish a net worth of over $1 billion, living with my family in the Valley House Estate on the island of Hawaii, purchasing a Gulfstream G550 by my birthday, 21 December 2019, and giving over $300 million to support manufacturing education. Thank you, God, for it is done.